Hi! Good evening,
Hi!
partner. Hello, mga ka-Crown. Nasasanay ka na ba
Ay,
sa intro video natin?
hindi pa rin. I
Hindi
still
pa rin.
cringe a bit. Okay, to be honest with you. Direct, so, sometimes I wonder, it's still surreal, but at the same time, it's still cringe, okay? Seriously.
Happy Sunday, partner. Happy Sunday, mga ka-Crown. Bukas papasok na naman tayo, pero mag-enjoy muna tayo ngayon.
That is so true. And alam mo, partner, you know what? Before we go further, as you know, we're going to be starting a new week. And actually, just a while ago, nangyari na nga, I think the Olympics has officially closed na in Tokyo. So again, congratulations to our Olympians. You know, they deserve this, and they deserve all the glory and all the cheers that we've been giving to them. So yeah, and we can't wait. 2024 in Paris, France. That's
Yes,
right.
and earlier pala, partner, we were at the online media conference for the winners of the Miss Philippines Earth. Congratulations to the winners, very gorgeous ladies, deserving winners. And of course, congratulations to the organization for a successful online production again this year.
Yes, and as we said, tune in to the Crown Philippines for more updates. I think we're just within sometime this week, partners. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, we are actually arranging an interview with this year's Miss Philippines or 2021 candidates. But before that, partner, the usual pabati moments kung meron tayo.
Oo naman, syempre. Teka, ayan. Syempre, we would like to say thank you and hello to May Manipod, Lovely Liz 04, Pao Monte Carlo, Philip Haranilla, JP Pablico MD, uh, Rex Mangels, Joffrey TV, Charlo Ruiz Tingson, and the Super Media City 747. Hello to you guys, and thank you for tuning in and following the Crown Philippines.
That's right. And before we go further, again, please don't forget to subscribe to the Crown Philippines on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And of course, please do visit the website www.thecrown.com. Okay, partner. Without further ado, we have our second guest for the Miss Universe Philippines Inspire You series. And partner, I want to ask you, when the country New Zealand comes into your mind, ano ang unang naiisip mo?
Milk, cows,
Milk. Okay. Okay.
birch tree, yan. Yun na naaalala ko. Ang luma.
Well, birch tree. Okay. And I thought you were going to say Lord of the Rings. Of course, we all
Oo
know
nga
that.
pala. Alam mo
Well,
naman.
yeah, well, we all
Oo.
know that the Lord of the Rings was actually filmed there.
Nakakahiya.
But
Birch.
okay, but actually, the reason why I'm asking you that, partner, because tonight our guest, is actually grew up there. She's Filipino
Mm.
by heart, but she grew up in New Zealand. So we will get to ask her some of the, so about her life in New Zealand. And as we actually when we were before we went live, I even had to clarify about accents because sometimes the accent of a New Zealander is actually can be mistaken for an Aussie accent. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight's guest, she's actually one of the not most, much awaited guests here in the Crown. We're talking about the representative from Cavite. Please welcome Miss Victoria VELASQUEZ Vincent.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Alexa. Hello, Christian. Thank you so much for having me on
Hi!
the Crown. Grabe,
Good
tawang-tawa
evening.
sa milk.
Sorry naman. Yun talaga yung una kong naisip.
Actually, some people ask me, di ba, on milk bottles, there's like a picture of parang like a farm with grass and blue skies. Whenever people that I meet for the first time, they're like, is that really what New Zealand looks like? Does it look like what it looks like on the milk bottle? Grabe.
Di ba, partner, sabi ko sa iyo, hindi lang naman ako. Pero partner, before you ask your first question, no, another thing pala that makes this episode special is that we are starting to also include our viewers in our live discussion. So mga ka-Crown, show your love and support to our guest, to Victoria for tonight, and From our engaging fans, we will select one lucky person to join us later and ask his question himself to Victoria. So once selected, our admins will contact you and share the link for you to join. Kaya super saya tong episode na to, partner. Mga ka-crown, nood-nood lang po, comment, like, and share. At baka kayo ang mapili natin to join tonight.
Okay. All right. Before we ask Victor all of the questions, all of these serious questions we had in mind, partner, let's get to know her a little bit more because, as we said, she grew up in New Zealand, and it's an opportunity to clarify things that we really don't know about don't know about New Zealand in particular. So, Victoria growing up in New Zealand. Aside from what we've said earlier about, of course, everybody knows when it's New Zealand, it's the film location of Lord of the Rings, and of course the milk and cows. What else don't we know about? We don't know about New Zealand from your perspective.
From my perspective, I would have to say New Zealand people as a whole, we're very chilled and laid back. You know, we take every day as it comes. That's kind of the basis of most of our personality. I think, I mean this in the most humble way possible, but I think we have the best rugby team in the world, the All Blacks. What else is there to know? Um, I think a lot of people assume, like I said, because they see the milk bottle and how a lot of milk is made in New Zealand, and they assume that New Zealand is fully farmland. But there's also a lot of cityscapes and everything as well. Ano pa? I really enjoyed growing up in New Zealand actually, because New Zealand is arguably one of the most progressive countries in the world. For example, our female prime minister at the moment, she was the first prime minister to walk in a pride parade. You know, we were the first country in the world to legalize gay marriage. And so, you know, New Zealand is, you know, although we're not perfect, New Zealand is incredibly progressive. And that's something that I'm incredibly proud to say about the country that I grew up in.
No, she was referring no less than the Prime Minister Jacinta Ardern, who actually is one of the first leaders in the world to make a quick decision on how to stop the pandemic from spreading. So there, sometimes not that we're trying, not that I'm quite a little bit proud to say that sometimes women leaders know what they're doing considering what we're all going through now. Victoria, aside from that, we just want to know also what made you said this earlier before going live. You've been traveling back and forth. You come to the Philippines every now and then. Uh, Share us your roots of, about your family. Why did you decide to migrate abroad? Stuff like that.
Sure. So my mom was actually born in Pasay, and she was born and raised there. But when she met my dad in Hong Kong, they actually got engaged after 3 days and then married after 2 weeks. And then upon seeing the way that my mom's family was living in Pasay, my dad decided to relocate them to Cavite. And so that's why my roots personally are very much in Cavite. So I only ever grew up going back and forth between New Zealand and Bacoor. And, the Philippines has always had a special place in my heart talaga. Like, we would always come back every year, aside from last year, of course, because of the pandemic. That was the first year that I could not step foot in the country, unfortunately. But because I think my family here is so much bigger in the Philippines, it really always felt more like home, even though I would only spend 2 months out of the year every year here in the Philippines. And my plan was always to relocate here. It was always just a matter of time. And unfortunately, the pandemic delayed things, but I didn't let it get in the way for too much longer. And so here I am now, living out my dream in the place that I've always called home.
That's very nice to hear. Partner, do you have anything to ask before I continue?
Oo, kasi syempre, Victoria, you mentioned about you having a very, in New Zealand, they usually have a laid back, like, kind of attitude. But we can definitely get that chill vibe from you. But in terms of competing for the Miss Universe Philippines crown, chill ka pa rin ba? Or you have a lot in your sleeves and fight hard for this Miss Universe Philippines crown?
I think it's a matter of balancing being chill and being determined because, you know, at the end of the day, you can't control everything. So you have to learn when to just relax and let things happen as they happen. But of course, I still have that fighting spirit, the fighting spirit of a Caviteña, diba? And then also, I think because New Zealand, we're very much competitive in terms of sport. And because pageantry is like a national sport here in the Philippines, I think that's translated into my character when it comes to competing for Miss Universe Philippines. So yeah, it's
Eh,
just a matter
kaya
of
naman,
balancing both.
kaya naman partner, congratulations VVV for her top 75 inclusion for the Miss Universe Philippines, diba?
Thank
Official candidate.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you
that is
so much.
yes, because as everybody knows, partner, the competition is getting tough, starting starting now actually. So, Victoria, might as well ask, what made you decide first? What made you rather decide to join a beauty pageant, beauty pageant here in the Philippines? You know, I later on because based on your resume, you have a very good resume to back you up. But why join a beauty pageant?
So for me, I see joining a beauty pageant, especially one that's as prestigious as Miss Universe Philippines, as a way of utilizing both my educational background and, the blessings that I've been given in terms of my beauty to really exploit those opportunities and privileges that I have, para I can help progress the Philippines and help add value to the Philippines in whatever way that I can. I know that I'm only one person, but given the platform that Miss Universe Philippines has, especially once you become the winner, the opportunities are truly endless.
Let's can we as I said earlier, you have a very good resume. So let's talk about that resume because she has a double degree, and I'm very curious about architecture because here in the Philippines when we talk about architecture, it's normally you have to go to a firm and all of that. But what is it about architecture that made you fall in love with the course?
So I actually fell in love with it originally because my father is actually an engineer. So growing up, I witnessed how he contributed to creating spaces and creating the built environment. And so I was always, growing up, my dad was one of my idols. And so I really admired his work. And I saw the satisfaction that he got out of providing these spaces for people. But at the same time, I am a little bit more creative, so I kind of wanted to combine what my dad did or does and, add creativity into it. And architecture was truly the answer to that. And originally, I had dreams of becoming, as most architecture students have, we have dreams of becoming a famous architect, and designing buildings that are in books and everything like that. But as I went through my course, I kind of developed a sense of rebellion against that idea of becoming a star architect, as they call it. And my goal is to design for the underprivileged people rather than designing for the wealthy or for huge corporations. So.
Yes, and any specific buildings that have caught your attention here in the Philippines that you really love the most right now?
So, as you both know, I also studied heritage conservation in conjunction with architecture. And so, anything in terms of heritage architecture, whether it be, buildings that are still standing or buildings that are barely still alive because they're ruins, I obsess over them because parang it's like you're walking through a history book once you experience these buildings. But aside from that, my favorite Filipino architect is actually Leandro Locsin. And I love the way that if you look at his work, you'll see that he predominantly uses concrete. And concrete has this very heavy, bulky connotation to it. But the way that he uses it is he does it in a way, or he did it in a way. Sorry, he's passed away now. He did it in a way where the buildings look like they're so light or like they're floating. And one of my favorite buildings that he did was the Church of Saint Andrew in Makati. When you think of concrete, you think of something that's hard and straight. But this building, there's so much curvature to it, and it looks really soft and really delicate, even though it's designed using concrete.
Very well said. Partner, might anything do you want to ask me? Pa.
Yes, oo. Kasi in terms of the your second master's degree, was that part of your plan?
or was it really it just came about during your years in architecture?
No, it was truly never part of my plan. I always loved historic architecture, but I think when you think heritage conservation, a lot of people think, that sounds kind of boring. You know what I mean? But when the opportunity arose, when I was about to start my master's program, uh, I felt like it would open a whole lot of new opportunities for me, and it would allow me to dive deeper into history so that I could use my degrees to create way for the future.
Correct. Kasi partner, isang masteral degree lang. Grabe, ang hirap nun. And then, you have a double master's. Diba? Parang, and it's really amazing. Amazing! So,
Thank you.
It's really, it actually is amazing. Actually, not that I wouldn't mind, taking time and doing my own MA in the future. So let's see once the pandemic is over, maybe. Now, we've gotten to know Victoria quite a bit now. I think it's time to have a little Q&A already with her, but we will do the easy round first. So without further ado, this easy round is actually still part of the getting to know you portion, but we will test Victoria a little bit. So here's your first question, Victoria. What do you think is the greatest invention of mankind for you?
So, for me, aside from the obvious, aside from the internet or medical innovations or any other form of, communication technology, I would have to say two things, actually, if I can choose two. First of all, cameras, and second of all, musical instruments. I think it's so incredible that photography and videography allows us to create, share, and relive experiences in places that we've been. And then on the other hand, with the musical instruments, it's more than just entertainment. It's almost as if they provide a sense of escape from reality, and it's kind of therapeutic. And I think the world without cameras and musical instruments would just be kind of miserable. But of course, like I said, there's incredible things that mankind has come up with, like medical innovations and whatnot.
Nice. And we're just getting started here, partner. And I think mic drop already na tayo. Nag-mic drop na tayo. Grabe.
true. Oo, diba? Sige, ito pa. So, Victoria, what makes you a phenomenal woman? Easy round ba to, partner? Parang okay, sige. Pero
It's still an
let's
easy
go with
round.
that. What makes you a phenomenal woman?
What makes me a phenomenal woman is the fact that I embody a sense of duality. I am living proof that women can be both passionate and rational. Women can be both delicate and strong, and women can be both intelligent and beautiful. That is what makes me phenomenal.
Ano,
Woo!
partner? Tanong pa? Question pa ba tayo?
Of
So,
course. We're just getting started, as I said. All right.
Bring it
Okay.
on.
As we said, this is our job is to, it's like training the girls already once the competition formally starts. Actually, it is starting. So we might as well bring in the next question. Next here is, as someone with an architect degree, which of the many monuments and structures in the Philippines that you have been mesmerized with?
Is this the same question you asked me before?
I know it's a different these times. What are the types? Any particular monuments this time that that made you double see it, made you do a double take, if there is anything that you've seen?
Like I said, definitely all of the heritage architecture. They all tell a story about the Philippines and our history and our culture. And I think anything to do with our roots and anything to do with how our country started and how it ended up to where it is now is something that's incredibly important, and that more people should be mesmerized by, more people should acknowledge. And so, yeah, that's what I would have to say. Definitely our heritage architecture.
Oh, there's so many. I think
Mm-mm.
she can even probably think of one right now, but there are too many to mention. So
There's
we
one that
wrap.
I really want to visit. Actually, I haven't been yet, and it's actually part of Cavite.
Mm.
The on Corregidor Island, all the ruins there. That is one of the
Oh, okay.
places. It's definitely on my bucket list. As soon as COVID is over and I'm able to travel there, that's where I really want to go.
All right. We're just getting warm up with the Q&A, but before we go further, I think it's time to bring in one of the most popular segments here in the crowd. And my partner will talk about this one. Go, Christian.
Sige, partner. But before that, we just want to announce that we have already selected the a fan who will join us later, and we picked Roger Ramos. Okay, so Roger's
Roger.
you prepare lang no after the photo raid. We're gonna bring him in. Our admins will contact you for the link so you can join us. Okay, so for the photo raid, Victoria, in the last few days, we kind of stalked your Instagram account because we wanted to know more about you, obviously, and your activities and your whereabouts in the past. So we picked three photos that maybe you can share a few fun bits or behind the scenes stories to our viewers and your fans. Okay, so now
Sure,
let's
sure.
get the ball rolling. Direct our first photo, please. Ayan, waiting for it to load. There, wow, just a
Oh.
laid back casual Victoria in Cavite. Can you tell us why you took this photo, Victoria?
So this was actually the first time that I had seen my family once I moved here officially in. So I moved here in January, but I didn't come out of quarantine about around mid-Feb. So this was the first time I got to see my cousins and my titas, and I, I'm typically very much a healthy person, and I never drink like soda or anything like that. But I really wanted to relive my childhood memories of getting soda and from a sari sari store and drinking it out of plastic. And so that's the first thing that I wanted to do once I went back to my province. I wanted to relive those childhood memories. Mm. I haven't had soda
Yeah,
ever since because it makes me bloated.
that's a fun memory, Pero when you were a kid back in the days na probably you were going or spending time in Cavite, did you get to play outside your house or how was your childhood like in the Philippines? Did you play hopscotch in the streets of Cavite or hide and seek perhaps?
I did. I was very much an outdoor child in New Zealand and in the Philippines. And some of my fondest memories in the Philippines were in our village. I was either watching all my older guy cousins play basketball or running around playing tag or hide and seek with my other cousins. And then, when it got nighttime, something my cousins and I would always do. I'm in like the kind of like the middle batch of cousins. There's like the older ones, the my age range and the super young ones. And so my age range and the older ones, we would always trick the younger ones and always, say, "Ay, there's a mumu," ganun. And we would always try and scare them. And I remember there was one time we put like parang baby powder on my cousin's face, and she was so incredibly scared of the white lady, I think it's called. And
Yes.
we were saying, "You're the white lady," and so yeah, we would always kind of torment my younger cousins in a way, which sounds really bad now that I'm saying it out loud, but it was funny at the time.
Yeah, very nice. But good old memories just for good vibes, no? Okay,
Mm-mm.
thank you, Victoria. Let's move on to our second photo for tonight. Ayan. Ooh,
Mm-mm.
so you're wearing a graduation cap here.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about this
So
photo, please.
that was on the day that I should have graduated from my double master's degree. But unfortunately, because of COVID, all, large mass gatherings were canceled. Even in New Zealand, just to be safe, they really
Hmm.
canceled them. And so for my bachelor's, usually people, we usually hire, the gown and the cap and everything. But I decided to buy the cap for my bachelor's degree graduation because I wanted to have it as like memorabilia. And luckily I did, so that I could take this photo when I graduated from my double master's degree in our front yard, and my mom took photos for me. Kind of sad, but it was okay. I was still proud of myself, regardless of, even if I didn't get to walk across the stage.
Yeah, but I can only imagine the stress, no, and the sleepless nights partner studying because I was working too
Mm.
when I had my masters, and the pressure is crazy. What more for someone who did a double master's degree? How are you able to manage that, Victoria?
Honestly, architecture school is a little bit of a blur talaga because it was full of sleepless nights. It was full of, you
Mm.
know, just never, some days I didn't have time to sleep. I didn't have time to eat. Sometimes I didn't have time to shower. Architecture school is truly so incredibly grueling. And so parang sayang naman that I put so much effort into my degrees and I didn't even get to graduate properly, no. But it's okay. I looking back, I enjoyed it 100%, even, without the sleep. I remember there was one time. So architecture students, to keep you awake because our deadlines are so ridiculous. Um, so to keep you awake, people would either drink coffee or drink like energy drinks. But I got to the point I did that so often that parang I was like immune to the caffeine. So they didn't even keep me awake anymore. And so the other option, which is really popular in architecture school, I don't know if you can get it here, but it's like a tab that you take. It's called no dose. And I don't know if my other architecture students will know about this, but it really keeps you awake talaga. Like you take it and then after 20 minutes you're so wide awake that you can't sleep for days. And there was one time, looking back, super bad for my health talaga, but sometimes you have to make those sacrifices. I think I stayed awake for mga 4 or 5 days in a row. And then by the end of it, I was like, as in super hallucinating. Like I was seeing things. It was so weird, but it was worth it because I did well in that design paper. So,
Congratulations, and I'm sure your parents are very proud of your achievements. And now you're about to add another on your hat. So there. Okay, let's transition to our third photo. Wow. Okay. So this photo, we picked this one because the caption says, it actually caught our attention. And since Miss Universe Philippines is themed at Inspire You, I just want to read it very quickly. The caption says, find the things that scare you the most, then face them. Beautiful quote. But tell us more about the photo first, Victoria.
so anyone that has been swimming with whale sharks here in the Philippines will know that this is in Cebu. And it's one of my favorite places to visit talaga. Kasi there's so much adventure there. There's always so much to do, so much to explore. But I think this was the first time I went to Cebu, and I wanted to do everything. I wanted to do Kawasan Falls canyoneering. I wanted to do swimming with whale sharks, and so this was one of the activities I did the first time. And there's something. Although I'm a beach baby, I love the water. There's something that's almost a little bit terrifying about being in the ocean. Even though the water is so calm, there's so many things that are outside of your control. And so I was really scared to do this, but luckily the boatman that I was with, he was super comforting, and he always made me feel like I wasn't alone and that he would be there if ever anything happened, which I think is actually, you know, it perfectly describes any of the guides or the boatmen that we have when you go traveling in the Philippines. They always make you feel like you've known them forever and that you're safe. So, ayun. I really want to do
Was
that
it
again, actually.
was it scary to swim with the whale sharks?
A little bit. They don't eat people, obviously, and they're very slow and very calm, but at the same time, they're so big. And so you just never know what's gonna happen. But yeah. Now I have so many memories looking back at that photo.
And you said there are a lot more things that you want to do. Do you have any other fears that you are yet to conquer?
So one of them One of them is like, I don't know. I've always wanted to jump out of a plane, like do skydiving or something like that. Uh, my fear is really things that I can't control talaga. So obviously, I don't know what's going to happen once I jump out of the plane. I don't know what's going to happen if I'm in the middle of the ocean. What else do I want to do that I'm scared of?
But
I think
same
that's
here,
it.
partner, yung skydiving is really interesting, no?
Mm-mm. And like the views that you'll be able to have once you're up there as well would be so unreal.
Correct. But so
Mm.
they say the first step to face your fear is to kill your excuses and stop doubting yourself. So once we get to go out again, partner, try natin ha. Sama tayo kay
Let's
Victoria.
go.
Game ako dyan, partner. I don't mind trying that.
I'm gonna
So
be so scared
yeah.
you might have to just push me out of the plane. But they say, what's the quote? It's like, it only takes 10 seconds of insane courage to conquer your fears and just to go for it. So that's what I always try to think, even if I'm scared, it only just takes that quick second just to be impulsive. So yeah, I need to do more things
True.
that I'm scared of. But one thing I'm really scared because I've never broken a bone. And so I don't know what it feels like. Di ba when you're younger, parang it's okay naman kasi, you know, you're young and, your ability to heal is a lot better. But once you're
Mm-mm.
older, because I haven't broken anything, I don't know how it feels. I'm so scared. I don't want to break anything.
And I don't think that's part of your bucket list naman, no, Victoria. Pero, but
No.
there you have it. Thank you, Victoria, for sharing with us these fun stories, and I'm sure you have inspired at least a couple of souls out there. Oh, partner, ikaw naman.
Oh, partner, I think before we go to the next segment, we are just flashing a photo of Victoria, actually now part of the top 75 direct. Where is that photo before we go on to the segment that we know segment? There it is. One, ika nga partner, sabi nung aming social admin a while ago, legs for days. Ikaw na, girl. Ikaw na. So, as you
You
may,
will not miss the top 75.
that's so there you go. This was actually flash. Well, no, posted a while ago on the Miss Universe Philippines social media accounts. Partner, I think I will handle back this segment to you again because ikayo ang mas nakakaintindi ng segments na to.
Yeah, okay. Direct, do we have Roger already to ask his question to Victoria and join us? Ayan mga ka-crown. So, one lucky person now has the chance to ask his question to Victoria. Roger, paso. Paso.
Pasok na. Hi,
Hi,
Kuya Roger.
Roger. Good evening.
Hi,
Welcome to
good
the
evening.
Crown Philippines.
Thank you very much for having me. Oh my God.
Ayan.
Finally, we get
Sige.
to
Oh,
e-meet.
Yeah, email,
there.
virtual.
There. Do you want to say something to Victoria muna before you ask your question?
Um, what can I say? I think I'm speechless, but I'm so happy to see her on screen virtually because um, I am supporting Victoria siguro months ago pa, and every day we have siguro mga comments lang sa Instagram, but now I can see her virtually, but ayon, Victoria all the way.
Thank you so
Yay!
much. Thank you. And thank you, Kuya Roger, for everything you do to support me. I'm so grateful.
You're
Yay!
welcome.
Okay, Roger, you can ask your question now.
Okay, my question is to Victoria is, how do you manage to respond if things get out of your control?
Hmm. As a Virgo, I love being in control of things. And so
Control.
when I lose control, or not necessarily when I just lose control, or if there's things that are out of my control, I take a second to just breathe, and then I think of a prayer that my dad actually taught me. It's called the Serenity Prayer, and it talks about, you know, accept the things that you cannot change. It's the main part of it that I really resonate with when there's things that I can't control. And so once I say that prayer to myself and I, you know, do some deep breathing and I think about how many other things I can control and how many other things are going my way, the thing that I can't control or the thing that's not going my way, that sort of becomes so minuscule in that moment. So that's probably my main technique.
There, meron
What
ka
a
pa bang
nice.
question to Victoria?
Um, Yun lang for now.
Ayan, sige. Thank you
See
again,
her.
Roger, ha, for
Thank you, Kuya
watching, tuning
Roger.
in, and supporting Victoria. Thank you.
Thank you, Crown.
See you. Ingat.
Ayan. So later then, we're also let Roger join us to siguro a few minutes backstage to have an e-meet and greet, just quick catch up with Victoria. Then congratulations, Roger. So ayan po mga ka-crown. If you have questions and also you would want to participate in our discussion, nood-nood lang in our following episodes. So partner, back to you.
All right. Now we're gonna go back, partner, to the Q&A round. But before that, I think it's time to bring in the newest segment of the crowd. Last night we debuted the segment called Witty Wit Corner. Now, again, just to refresh everybody's mind, Witty Wit Corner is actually how we test the girls, our guests here tonight, our guests, on how they will answer the funny questions or questions that are unconventional to them. So, as much as we want to ask Victoria, some Filipino questions, we decided to kind of tweak these questions a little bit, and we hope that she will get these questions. Now, the goal here, actually, Victoria, just to let you know, this is pattern. If you've watched, it's Showtime's Miss Q&A. It's kind of how they answer it. It's kind of like how do I say it? It's funny, but at the same time, it makes sense. And of course, there's rhymes and stuff like that. So we will do our best. Not that we will do our best, to make this fun for you, because the goal actually is to show your personality first. So we picked two questions randomly for you. So here it goes. So question number 2 is here. We picked number 2 and number 9. And your question is, kung isa sa mga favorite hairstyles and beauty pageants are big curls, gusto mo din bang matry mag-cheese curls? I will repeat it again. Kung isa sa mga favorite hairstyles and beauty pageants ay big curls, do you want to try cheese curls?
Siyempre naman, kasi I'm a food addict talaga. So why would I have big curls when I can have cheese curls?
Wow! Very
Not
nice.
bad. And to be honest with you, Victoria, I was initially worried that you wouldn't get it, because the goal, the goal, is to just to show your sense of humor. So, it's one way of at least now we can, partner, I can now say that she can understand Filipino humor here. So there, congratulations for that. All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, this next question goes. This was actually, if you know the actress, and this is actually referred to actress Rufa May Quinto, and she actually said this. I think she said this, partner. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you agree? Do you agree that honesty is the best honestly? Do you agree that honesty is the best honestly? By the
I'm
way, there's no
trying to
time limit for this. So,
Parang ito
I'm
yung
trying
difficult questions, partner.
I know, right?
is wait.
Do you
What's the
agree
or
that
honesty is the Ano?
The best, honestly.
The best, honestly. I'm trying to answer this parang not in a pageant way. uh,
Go.
mm, honestly, how could honesty not be the best? Honestly, yeah. I'm confused.
Okay, not bad. Okay, I think okay. Just to give one more question, I think she would like this. And again, my director and my partner are going to tell me I'm such a nerd for this question, but I might as well fire this question. Here it goes. If you were in the situation of Prince Paris in Greek mythology, would you have chosen to, letter A, be the lady of Europe and Asia as offered by the goddess Hera, win the battle against your enemy as offered by Athena, or get the love of your life who happens to be the handsomest guy in the land as offered by Aphrodite?
What is the first option? Ano yung A?
Letter A is the Lady of Europe and Asia as offered by the goddess Hera.
Okay. I don't know a whole lot about Greek mythology, but honest answer lang to. I would go with B kasi being the winner is more important to me than love or beauty.
Fair enough. Thank you, Victoria, for gamely answering these questions. So now, as you all know, Witty Wit Corner is evolving. And if you have any questions, funny questions that you would like to ask our candidates and the candidates in our future episodes, please do send them our way. And who knows, one question might be picked. And actually, after this, we're going to ask Victoria if she has any question that she wants us to ask our future guests. So later on. All right. We already did the Witty Wit. And it's time now, partner, for the Miss Universe segment. And for tonight, we only have one question for Victoria. So the question, I believe, goes like this. So I'll ask you this question. What is the biggest contribution of your country to the world? What is the biggest contribution of your country to the world?
Honestly, I would have to say our medical professionals. I've grown up in another country, so I know what it's like to have Filipino medical professionals, whether it be nurses or doctors, in charge of my grandfather, for example, who was in hospital for a while before he passed away. And from my opinion and from my perspective, not only are Filipino medical professionals so incredibly hardworking and so professional, but they're also incredibly compassionate and empathetic. And when you're going through a situation when you or your loved one are sick, you don't necessarily just need someone who's incredibly knowledgeable in their field, but you also need that compassion, that empathy, because it's such a hard situation to go through. And so that's what I would have to say. Our Filipino medical professionals are, in my opinion, some of the best in the world talaga.
Totoo naman yan, partner. Mga bagong bayani natin yan, di ba? Very in demand internationally because of the professionalism, and the grace under pressure. Grace under pressure, di ba?
And the
That's
nurturing
true.
nature also that comes with being a Filipino. We love to take care of people, and that's one of the most important things when you have a patient or you have someone you're caring for in hospital. So
Yeah, that's true. And considering what we're all going through right now, I think it's only right that the medical frontliners are being praised. So
mm,
from the Miss Universe segment, partner, we will now go a little bit difficult. But difficult, how we define it, will be up to how Victoria answer this. Now, partner, I will let you throw the first question on the difficult round.
Okay, so are you ready, Victoria, for the
I
difficult
think so.
question?
I think so. Let's see.
Para kanina pa kami nag-ano ng mga questions dito, but here it is. All right. Um, so should couples be given the choice to divorce? Why or why not? I'll repeat it. Should couples be given the choice to divorce? Why or why not?
I am personally incredibly religious, and I see marriage as being profoundly sacred. But I also know what it's like to be in a relationship where it's doing damage to my physical and my mental and my emotional health. And so I understand that there might be married couples out there that are experiencing the same thing that can't escape because of the laws that exist. And so although I do believe that couples should be given a chance to, escape from that form of imprisonment, being in that sort of relationship that no longer serves you, I do also hope that couples and just individuals, especially people of my generation that are preparing ourselves for marriage, possibly, not myself personally, I do hope that people come to understand and come to value how sacred marriage is and take that into account before they make that lifelong commitment.
True, agree. At the end of the day, partner, no, it's all about valuing the relationships, whether it's within a marriage or outside your marriage, but it's about our relationship with each other. Wow. Okay. Go, partner.
All right. Your second question. Again, this is actually a good question because it has something to do with your background as an architect, an architect. As someone with an architect background, what is your view on green technology? Again, as someone with an architect background, what is your view on green technology?
So I did do a master's of architecture, and I am also an advocate for the conservation of our natural environment. And so I do believe that architects play this significant role in ensuring that, our buildings are sustainable and they don't contribute too much to to climate change. And so I think, especially because the construction industry as a whole, we contribute around 40%, I believe, to CO2 emissions. And so, therefore, architects, engineers, but also other people involved in the construction process, like contractors and clients, we do definitely hold that form of responsibility to ensure that we're doing what's right by ourselves, but also what's right by our environment, our natural environment.
Something to learn again, partner. Something to learn
Mm-mm.
again, the importance of
True.
green
Right, because
technology.
and whichever field we may be in, we all have the responsibility to take care of each other, to take care of the environment. So, hence,
Mm-mm.
green technology is really something that we recommend, no, and we suggest.
Mm. And not
All
only
right.
just that, kasi green technology can be medyo mahal talaga. But there's
Yun
other ways of
lang.
doing it. If you look into things like passive design, that's another form of, reducing our carbon emissions. So I think as professionals, we have that responsibility to also take into account what we do for a living is affecting our environment and the future generations to come.
All right. All right. This other question that we have for you, actually, this is our second to the last question for you. What is your view on distance learning?
Hmm. So for me, distant learning is something that was once an alternative approach to education, but because of COVID, it's become really the only option that children these days have really been forced into. And distant learning has really taught us through the pandemic that it taught us the true value of teachers because of the responsibility that's now fallen onto parents' shoulders because the kids can't go to school anymore. And more importantly, I think it's also highlighted the gap between the privileged and the underprivileged. There are so many underprivileged children out there that don't have a means of continuing their education while they're not physically going to school. So I just hope that through the pandemic and through this forced distance learning, I hope that more priority and more investment is put into the education of our children because, they deserve it.
All right. Thank you. And that wraps up the difficult round. I think we're running out actually of A lot of questions already to ask Victoria.
Lahat kami napapanganga, Victoria, sa mga sagot.
Yeah.
Diba, partner?
Yeah,
Natatahimik na lang tayo eh.
and we thought we prepared for this, prepared for tonight's episode. But seriously, as much as we want to keep Victoria with us further, we have to wrap things up for tonight's episode. But before that, Victoria, we have what we call the final word. And I think this final word, we will all be asking the candidates themselves in the interviews that we were doing. So, our final word is, why do you deserve to be Miss Universe Philippines?
The big question. For me, I believe I deserve to be Miss Universe Philippines because being Miss Universe Philippines for me isn't just a year-long reign. Sorry. For me, it's a lifelong commitment. It's a commitment to our country. It's a commitment to continuing my advocacy in particular, and just a commitment to the empowering of our people. And so that's what I think. I think because for me, Miss Universe Philippines is not just a temporary thing that I'm then going to move on from. For me, it's the first year of the rest of my life here in the Philippines.
And with that wraps up tonight's conversations. Partner.
Thank you, Victoria. Alam mo, partner, itong Miss Universe Philippines series natin is, again, not just about the behind the scenes of a beauty competition, but also knowing this year's candidates in the middle of a pandemic. We are reminded to continue to be positive and be inspired, just like how Victoria has inspired us with her story, especially yung mga narinig natin kanina sa photo read. But thank you, Victoria, for sharing and gracing the Crown Philippines tonight. So ayan mga ka-Crown, before we let you go, Victoria, we're giving you the floor to probably give out your thanks and your message to your fans.
Of course. First of all, thank you to the Crown Philippines for having me, but also thank you to every Filipino out there, whether you're a Caviteño, whether you're a fellow architect, or even if you're not even a Filipino, but you're still choosing to support me. I really appreciate it so much. I don't think I could be so motivated if I didn't have so many people behind me believing in me. That really means a lot. So thank you so much. I look forward to hopefully making you all proud and hopefully also meeting you all someday. I hope you are all keeping safe and taking care of your health because, as they say, health is wealth.
We'll see you soon. So thank you mga ka-Crown, and please continue to follow us on our social media accounts at The Crown Philippines and subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Crown Philippines. We are now 250,000 strong on Facebook and 45,000 strong on Instagram. Kaya follow pa more, subscribe pa more, and let's continue to be happily updated sa mga ganap sa pageant world. Partner!
And yes, you're right. So aside from the social media accounts, please do not forget as well that we have our website back online. Please visit www.thecrown.com, and when we will continue putting more updates there. As you know, it's pageant season. Hindi pa po tayo natatapos. So you will get the freshest and up-to-date stories in the pageant world here in the Philippines. And with that,
Partner, also, we want to say hi to Chrysos and Elmo, Mama John, and Doc Jean. Hello po!
Thank
Hello
you.
to
Thank
my
you.
camp family.
Yeah, thank you very much, the camp, for allowing us to interview the girls. And you know, we still have two more. We will be getting to know the Victoria's two other sisters very, very soon, Ingrid Santa Maria and Crystal Abello. And with that, until the next episode of The Crown, good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, mga
Thank
ka-Crown.
you.
Roger, stay
Ingat.
tuned lang ha.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.